Let's get to State Senator Fairfax, part of the Boys Are Back in Town trio. Senator David Marsden. Senator, I know you've been very patient. Thank you. Good to have you with us.
Well, it's good to be here, John. How are you?
I tell you what, today is your day, right? Guns, roses for your wife, your lovely wife, and judges. So let's start with the guns. I mean, look, I gotta hand it to you, Senator. I mean, you've been in the forefront of this gun issue. You put together a gun forum in Fredericksburg that we did live. You had Philip Van Cleve and the VCDL there. You were the advocate the other way. But now, today, 1 o'clock, get this, Senator. So Terry McAuliffe is having a press conference. And apparently, you guys cut a deal. And I love the deal, right? I mean, look, we're in a divided government. I love this deal because basically McAuliffe is going to get rid of the 25-state reciprocity ban that Attorney General Mark Herring put in. McAuliffe is going to scrap that because of the blowback he got. And then in return for that, what the Republicans say is no concealed carry for people with a permanent protective order. Well, Senator, that makes sense to me. You have a protective order signed by a judge, a permanent protective order. Probably got something going on there that the last thing you want is for somebody to have a concealed handgun. And then at gun shows, state police there, paid by the state for voluntary background checks. That's the compromise. I think it's great. What say you?
Well, yeah, I think that this is. Let me tell you how I look at it. First of all, Mark Herring didn't put in this ban. Mark Herring enforced the law as it existed. But there again, nobody really knew or paid any attention to the law. It wasn't a problem with the interstate carry, but it was the interstate concealed carry, but it was the law, and he enforced it. And so in this sense, something like 80 to 90% of Americans and Virginians, believe in background checks, but it's a very, very difficult thing for Republican legislators to vote for, even though it's wildly popular because of the power of the gun lobby in Republican primaries. And, a few thousand people in your district of 200,000 as a senator can put you on the street, send you home in a bag. And so that is the fear. So this provides the cover, because this concealed carry thing is much more important to people than the gun show background, or the voluntary checks at the gun shows, and certainly everybody would agree that a husband under a permanent protective order should not be going around with guns. We've had 4, I believe, is the number, homicides committed by men under protective orders who still had their guns. So I think that all around this is a very good deal. It provided cover for people to do the right thing, and every once in a while things come together. But I do understand that there are people in the gun rights or in the gun the community of folks who are looking for stronger gun controls, that there is some discord over this, but I haven't talked to anyone yet to determine what that might be.
Are you in favor, Senator, of the compromise?
Yes.
Okay, because the last time we had on your show, I mean, you were very adamant about getting rid of the reciprocity. You defended the Attorney General. You thought he did the right thing. You're very passionate in that. So this is a compromise that you can live with.
And the Attorney General isn't getting rid of anything. There is a bill that's going to come through that's going to change the law. And then the Attorney General will just enforce the new law. Mm-hmm. That's the way this system works. Mm-hmm. Everybody made this such a personal thing about Herring, and it's ridiculous. He's the best attorney we have had in the Attorney General's office since I've been active in politics.
Okay, now there's some people that think that this was that this basically was a scheme by McAuliffe and Herring to gain negotiating leverage to get some concessions that they wanted, that they kind of concocted this in order to make a big stink about it, and then it would give something away that they didn't care about in order to get some things they want. That seems a little far-fetched to me.
Well, yeah, that's above my pay grade, in terms of that kind of thing. But I think every once in a while you see an opportunity and you take it, and all of a sudden things kind of crystallize. People are much less Machiavellian, generally speaking, John, than we think they are. Most of us, stumble through life coming across opportunities from time to time, but we don't have the game mapped out months and weeks and years in advance. We have our beliefs and what have you, and when things present themselves where we can make some progress, we try to do that. And I think this is one of those times. Like you just said, how many people are going to be upset over an opportunity for voluntary background checks and to take guns away from people with permanent protective orders? But doggone it, it's the right thing to do. It's a good thing. We've made Virginia a little bit safer today, and we've made some folks with concealed weapons permits made their lives a little bit less complicated.
Listen, politically, I think this was a disaster for Attorney General Herring, but I think the big winners here on the Democratic side are Terry McAuliffe, VCDL, which you added that thing. I mean, these guys are on a roll, no question. They put a lot of political capital in trying to get rid of the revoking the reciprocity. The other big winner, I got to tell you in this, Senator, is Lieutenant Governor Ralph Northam, who didn't want anything to do with this under the table. I can say he wanted nothing to do with this going into the 2017 campaign. And look, we had Democratic senators that were very much in opposition to what Mark Herring did. John Edwards, Senator Edwards, your colleague, your good friend in Roanoke, Senator Linwood Lewis, Eastern Shore. He was for getting rid of it or not doing what Mark Herring did. Those are just two out of the three right there. But Senator, this doesn't make Mark Herring look good because
absolutely, you're absolutely way off the mark.
Why,
John? With that, the question you keep thinking that somehow or another this is all this big political calculation on Mark Herring's part. He obeyed the law. He enforced the law. There's going to be a new law, and he'll enforce that. I think he comes across looking great. And all of a sudden, as a result of all of this, we have gun safety background checks in place. We have guns out of the hands of people with permanent protective orders, and his role is to protect the citizens of the Commonwealth. Mark Herring, I know the man, and his ego is not caught up in this thing as to like, oh, you've rained on my biggest thing. No, the man cares about Virginia, cares about the safety of the citizens of Virginia, and this isn't like it's some personal affront to him that his decision was used to make some progress in other areas. John, that's just way off the mark.
Well, Senator, I do have to agree with you on this, Senator Marsden, who is a Democrat representing the 37th District of Virginia. That's in the Fairfax area. I do have to agree with you. I've been in Mark Herring's company many times. There's no ego there. I mean, that's straight up. There's no ego. He's just a straight up guy, and I think he does do what he believes in. But we can agree to disagree because I think the way this thing plays out, I don't think politically helpful to him. But it's very helpful to Terry McAuliffe, who once again shows that he can work with Republicans and that he can get something done. And look, we have a divided government. So you have a Democratic governor, two Republican-controlled houses, and I think the compromise that the Maxter struck today with Republicans is very well done. I mean, the two things that the gun advocates gave up are common sense things to me anyway. I mean, think about it. If you get a permanent protective order, I mean, for a judge to sign a permanent protective order, not 6 months or 3 months, but which means that
2 years.
Yeah,
2 years.
Yeah, which means that you have you have this long time where you can't go within 50 yards, 100 yards, 50 feet, 2 miles of somebody. I mean, judges don't just sign that. Okay, something's going on there, and the last person you would want to have a concealed weapon is a person with a permanent protective order. So I think that made sense, and I love the compromise about let's get state police in the gun shows. And then we can have a voluntary background check. I love that idea. How is that bad?
No, it is not bad at all. I had a bill in this year to create a card for people that sort of pre-approves them for purchasing a firearm. Now, it's no good with a federal firearms dealer because that has to be done at the point of sale, but wouldn't it be great if people in the gun community, the people who buy and sell guns, voluntarily went out and got a card that says, I'm not crazy and I'm not a criminal, and so that at a private gun show, it could be a routine practice for you to take your card out, show it to the guy that you're buying a gun from privately, and say, hey, guy, you can sleep well tonight. I'm a responsible citizen. I think we're headed in that direction. I think we can make some improvements around gun safety in the Commonwealth.
Senator, great compromise, great deal that was made. I think everybody is a winner. The people of Virginia are a winner. But once again, I tell you, I'm a fan of your governor. I think he's really matured in the position since, we went through the whole Medicaid expansion, government shutdown thing. And this is a great compromise. And I think he'd be a great Secretary of Commerce in the Donald J. Trump for President administration. I got to go back to that.
I think Mr. McAuliffe has done a great job creating economic opportunity for Virginians. Nobody has worked harder at that. He's doubled or tripled or whatever the last couple of governors in terms of what he's been able to do there. He's done a great job. And Mark Herring, you need to I think everybody needs to get the narrative straight here as to who this guy is and what he's trying to do here. He's there to enforce the law. There's going to be a new law on concealed weapons. He'll enforce that, and he will move on so quickly to the other heavy responsibilities that he has, and that's just not the way the game is played with this group. And I hope Virginians recognize what good people they have in higher office.
All right, Senator. Well, I think it's a net political disaster for Attorney General Herring. You think otherwise, we can agree to disagree on that. Senator, very quickly, we hope today you'll get to decide on who the next Supreme Court judge will be. You're never going to get a chance to vote for Justice Roush. This is just reality. She is not going to win in the House, so you'll never even have an opportunity to vote on her behalf. So the person you are going to have an opportunity to vote for is Rossi Alston, African-American judge who is going to pass the House, and you'll have a chance to vote for him. He's qualified. Roush is qualified, but she's not going to be on your docket. Why punish Ralston?
It's not a question of punishing Ralston. The governor had the prerogative to make the appointment that he did. And in the last 100 years, that's been honored by the General Assembly. When it's your turn, it's your turn. When it's our turn, it's our turn. That's the way politics and public policy has been carried out in Virginia for the most part. And this was just a very unfortunate thing that occurred. And we're sticking with the fact that the governor had the right to make this appointment, and I think that she is clearly the best qualified. They interviewed both of those individuals, and she won the interview.
Look, I was there. I thought Judge Roush did.
No. We're talking about. You don't think the governor just went out and plucked somebody?
Oh, you're talking about when the governor interviewed them. You're not talking about the hearing.
Exactly.
All right.
There was an.
But look, we're out of time. We're out of time, Senator. But I'm out of time. But the bottom line is, you're not going to have a chance to vote for Roush. You're only going to have a chance to vote for Alston, and you're voting him down. So two wrongs don't make a right. Right?